Hello everyone, welcome to ITLS Academy. Our lecture is Microbial Spoilage and Preservation of Pharmaceutical Products. So we are going to study microbial spoilage. We will start with introduction. Many medicines contain a wide variety of ingredients, often in quite complex physiochemical state, included to create formulations which are efficacious, stable, and sufficiently elegant to be acceptable to patients. Should microbial contaminants survive manufacture or enter during storage or use, they are likely to meet conditions which are often conducive to survival and even replication of an appreciable assortment of non-fastidious bacteria, fungi, and yeasts, and microbial spoilage may ensue unless steps are taken to control it. Microbial spoilage may include number 1, survival of low levels of acutely pathogenic microorganisms or higher levels of opportunist pathogens. Opportunist pathogens are microorganisms that normally does not cause any kind of disease, but when their concentration is high and person is immunocompromised or immunity of the person is very low, these attack the body of the person and cause disease. That's why they are called as opportunist pathogens, because in normal condition they does not cause any disease, but when they get opportunity, in the case when person is immunocompromised, then they cause disease. Next point, the presence of toxic microbial metabolites, or the third point is microbial growth and initiation of chemical and physiochemical deterioration of the formulation. Such spoilage usually results in major financial problems for the manufacturer, either through direct loss of the faulty product or possibly expensive litigation with aggrieved users of the medicine. Types of spoilage. First is infection induced by contaminated medicines. First point is, although infrequently reported as pharmaceutical contaminants. Acute human pathogens attract considerable attention when they are present. For example, Salmonella species infections have arisen from contaminated tablets and capsules of yeast, carmine, pancreatin, thyroid extract, and powdered vegetable drugs, where low levels of pathogens encountered in the finished medicines were traced to the raw ingredients used. Next point is fatal viral infections are well recorded resulting from the use of contaminated human tissue or fluids as components of medicines. Examples of this include human immunodeficiency virus or HIV, infection of Haemophilus by contaminated and inadequately treated factor VIII products. Next point is gram-negative bacteria contain lipopolysaccharide, in short LPS, and it is an endotoxin in their outer membranes that can remain in an active condition in products even after cell death, and some can survive moist heat sterilization. Although inactive by oral route, endotoxins can induce acute and often fatal febrile shock if they enter the bloodstream via contaminated infusion fluids, even in nanogram quantities, or via diffusion across membranes from contaminated hemodialysis solutions. Next point is the acute bacterial toxins associated with food poisoning episodes are not commonly reported in pharmaceutical products, although aflatoxin producing aspergilli have been detected in some vegetable ingredients. However, many of the metabolites of microbial deteriorations have quite unpleasant taste and smell even at low levels, and would deter most from using such a medicine. Chemical and physiochemical deterioration of pharmaceutical products. Microorganisms form a major part of the natural recycling processes for biological matter in the environment. As such, they possess a wide variety of degradative capabilities which they are able to exert under relatively mild physiochemical conditions. The overall rate of deterioration of a chemical will depend upon number 1, its chemical structure, number 2, the physiochemical properties of a particular environment, number 3, the type and quantity of microbes present, number 4, whether the metabolites produced can serve as a source of usable energy and precursors for biosynthesis of cellular components and hence the creation of more microorganisms. Pharmaceutical formulations may be considered as specialized microenvironments and their susceptibility to microbial attack assessed using conventional ecological criteria. Now come to the pharmaceutical ingredients susceptible to microbial attack. First is surface active agents. Anionic surfactants such as alkali metals and amine soap of fatty acids are generally stable due to the slightly alkaline pH of the formulations, although readily degraded once diluted out into sewage. Generally, ease of degradation decreases with increasing chain length and complexity of branching of the alkyl chain. Next point is non-ionic surfactants such as alkyl poly alkyl polyoxyethylene alcohol emulsifiers are readily metabolized by a wide variety of microorganisms. Lipolytic cleavage of the fatty acids from sorbitan esters, polysorbates, and sucrose esters is often followed by degradation of the cyclic nuclei, producing numerous small molecules readily utilizable for microbial growth. Next point is the cationic surfactants used as antiseptics and preservatives in pharmacy are usually only slowly degraded at high dilutions in sewage. Pseudomonads have been found growing readily in quaternary ammonium antiseptic solutions, largely at the expense of other ingredients such as buffering materials, although some metabolism of these surfactants has also been observed. Organic polymers. Many of the thickening and suspending agents used in pharmacy are subject to microbial depolymerization by specific classes of extracellular enzymes, yielding nutritive fragments and monomers. Examples of such enzymes with their substrates in parentheses are amylases or starches, pectinases or pectins, cellulases or carboxymethylcellulose, but not alkyl cellulases, uronidases or polyuronidases such as in Tragacanth and Acacia, and proteases or proteins. These are some examples of organic polymers. Next is humectants. Low molecular weight materials such as glycerol and sorbitol are included in some products to reduce water loss and are usually readily metabolized unless present in high concentrations. Next is fats and oils. These hydrophobic materials are usually attacked extensively when dispersed in aqueous formulations such as oil in water emulsions, although fungal attack is reported in condensed moisture films on the surface of oil in bulk or where water droplets have contaminated the bulk oil phase. While the microbial metabolism of pharmaceutical hydrocarbon oils is rarely reported, this is a problem in engineering and fuel technology when water droplets have accumulated in oil storage tanks and subsequent fungal colonization has catalyzed serious corrosions. Next is sweetening, flavoring, and coloring agents. Many of the sugars and other sweetening agents used in pharmacy are ready substrate for microbial growth. However, some are used in very high concentrations to reduce water activity in some aqueous products and inhibit microbial attack. Next point is at one time a variety of coloring agents such as tartrazine and amaranth and flavoring agents such as peppermint water were kept as stock solutions for extem- extemporaneous dispensing purposes, but they frequently supported the growth of Pseudomonas species, including Pseudomonas aeruginosa. It is now recommended that such stock solutions contain preservatives or are made freshly as required by dilution of alcoholic solutions, which are much less susceptible to microbial attack. Next comes therapeutic agents. It is possible to demonstrate that a variety of microorganisms under laboratory conditions can metabolize a wide assortment of drugs, resulting in loss of activity. Materials as diverse as alkaloids like morphine, strychnine, atropine, analgesics as aspirin, paracetamol, barbiturates, steroid esters, and mandelic acid can be metabolized and serve as substrate for growth. Preservatives and disinfectants. Many preservatives and disinfectants can be metabolized by a wide variety of gram-negative bacteria, although more commonly at concentrations below their effective use levels. However, quaternary ammonium antimicrobial agents are only slowly attacked. Next point is it is important to remember this possibility when selecting preservatives for formulations. Next is observable effects of microbial attack on pharmaceutical products. Microbial contaminants will usually need to be able to attack ingredients of a medicine and create substrates necessary for biosynthesis and energy production before they can replicate to levels where obvious spoilage becomes apparent since, for example, 10 to the power 6 microbes will have an overall degradative effect around 10 to the power 6 times faster than one cell. However, growth and attack may well be localized in surface moisture films or very unevenly distributed within the bulk of viscous formulations such as creams. Next is number 1 point is changes in product pH can occur depending on whether acidic or basic metabolites are released and become so modified as to permit secondary attack by microbes previously inhibited by the initial product pH. Gaseous metabolites may be seen as trapped bubbles within viscous formulations. Next point is when a complex formulation such as an oil in water emulsion is attacked, a gross and progressive spoilage sequence may be observed. Metabolism of surfactants will reduce stability and accelerate creaming of the oil globules. Next point is lipolytic release of fatty acids from oils will lower pH and encourage coalescence of oil globules and cracking of the emulsion. Fatty acids and their ketonic oxidation products will provide a sour taste and unpleasant smell, whilst bubbles of gaseous metabolites may be visible trapped in the product and pigments may discolor the product. So thank you very much guys for watching this session. Guys, follow ITLS Academy on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, WhatsApp and LinkedIn. You can subscribe ITLS Academy on YouTube. You can also get the app of ITLS Academy on Google Play Store. Thank you very much again for watching. Guys, like, share and subscribe our channel. For any help or query, you can call our helpline number 7080-833-450. You can visit www.itlsacademy.com. Thank you very much again for watching this session.